Tim Collins with Cullman Today. I'm at the Cullman County Courthouse with Nancy Bryant of the Cullman Caring for Kids. Nancy, you had a big morning down here, didn't you?
Yes, Tim, we did. Today was our proclamation that was signed by our commissioners, and we are so thankful of them to proclaim Cullman County as Child Abuse Awareness Month, the month of April.
Now, what does that mean exactly? I mean, we all know what child abuse is about, but what does the proclamation entail? What do we need to know about that?
To me, it is to call the people in our community to be aware of what child abuse is and to watch for it and to do something about it. We proclaim that we don't put up with child abuse in Cullman County.
Javon, you got a big proclamation signed and approved today, and right over your right shoulder is the reason why, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what those numbers mean?
Yes, sir. In 2014, there were just a few cases, over 800, that were reported to the Department of Human Resources here in Cullman involving child abuse and neglect. In 2015, there were 980 cases reported, which shows a large percentage increase in the number of children reported to have been abused or neglected in Cullman County.
Now, Javon, I've checked the census numbers a few weeks ago. There's roughly 17,000 children under age 18. 1,000, that's a big percentage. That almost sounds like an epidemic to me. Can you speak to that a little bit more?
Well, national statistics say that only about 10% of child abuse and neglect cases are ever reported to the authorities. So possibly there could be as many as 9,800 cases reported are happening in Cullman County each year, according to these numbers. DHR and law enforcement receive numerous calls on a regular basis, and because of that, we really need to come together as a community and help stop this terrible scourge that's hitting our homes and our families called child abuse.
Every day in America, 5 children die from child abuse. In Alabama, last year, we have 13 children that died from child abuse and neglect in just Alabama. And do you know that every 5 hours a child dies from child abuse?
Javon, I know personally in years past with me, I've seen children who look a little bit oversensitive. They're with their parents. I see something that doesn't feel right to me. It's just an instinct. What are people who have that same feeling, and I'm sure everyone has at one point, what are we to do with that if we suspect potential child abuse or a problem?
Report it. You may be the one that saves a child's life by reporting what you see. You can report it anonymously to the Department of Human Resources. You can contact law enforcement, either local law enforcement, or you can call the 1-800 hotline and report child abuse. But don't sit on it. Don't just ignore it. Report it, because these children's lives are in our hands. It's not about us. It's about the children.
Beginning the 1st of April, we do so many things. This is really our start, is the proclamation. The first Wednesday of April is National Day of Hope. And what that is, across our nation, people will light a 5-wick candle to represent the 5 children that will die from child abuse and neglect. We do this as a memorial. We want to remember our children that suffered in the hands of the fate that was upon them, could not do anything about it, and we want to help these helpless people, these young children that died from child abuse, and we never want to forget that.
And these children are part of a family, but once they're abused, they have scars that they will never heal.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to make this point a little bit deeper. I heard what you said, but I still have this scar tissue or this memory bank that says, well, that's a civil matter. That's between the parents and the kid. It's none of my business. Can you educate me on how I need to basically cure myself of that thought form?
A lot of people have the understanding that if they report something like this, that they might be liable. If you report child abuse and you are doing it without malice, not because you're mad at somebody, but because you feel like it is actually happening, under the Alabama Good Samaritan law, you are not liable for reporting that case. And as I said before, you can report it anonymously to the Department of Human Resources. Report it as a concern. They will check into it and take it from that point.
So that is what the Day of Hope is about, and I'll be taking out candles to all the city and county schools this year, the Tuesday before the Wednesday. I believe that's going to be April the 6th is that first Wednesday in April. And they will light that candle during the day, and it's just going to be a memorial. So the children will know it's okay to tell if someone is hurting them, if someone is touching them inappropriately. They know that they can, that they're special and they're wonderful, and that no child ever deserves to be hurt. You know, 5 children will die today, and that's 5 too many. We have to stop child abuse.
So what you're telling me is, I'm going to use a hypothetical situation. If I've got a neighbor and I feel like something not right is going on, maybe child abuse, I don't have to turn my name in to law enforcement. It all can be done anonymously if necessary.
Yes, it can. And if that's your fear, do it that way. But we really need to take a stand. We need to take our heads out of the sand and start reporting child abuse when we see it. If you're at a store and you see a mother just slap a child almost out of a buggy, that's child abuse. And you need to report it to someone.
Well, and that's what Cullman Caring for Kids is really all about, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That is our drive, that is our hope and our mission, and everything we do at Cullman Caring for Kids is all geared to stop and prevent child abuse. And we know that education is the key, because children know it's not their fault. They can tell. We have a program in the school that our facilitator, Mitzi Wilburn, goes into the school and educates the children on what child abuse is and tells them it's not their fault. They talk about who they could tell. And she has many disclosures, and many children go and tell their counselor, and they'll go home and tell their parents that this is happening. And we know that we're making a difference.
Well, there's a fine line, I suppose, between normal parental discipline, spanking, and abuse, isn't there? But
yes,
you can
there
almost
is.
tell. You can almost have an instinct, I suppose.
There's a difference between spanking and abuse. Spanking does not leave bruises or cuts. It doesn't leave scars. Spanking is corrective. Abuse is just out of anger or some need to hurt someone. So whatever you do, if you see it, report it.
We do the United Way Food Bank, and people say, well, how does food help? You ever had a hungry child? You don't know where you're going to get the next food for your to feed your children. You don't know where you're going to get the money to pay the bills. Stress is one of the main reasons why people physically abuse their children. There's just too much stress. So we know we're preventing it from happening when we can give them a bag of food.
This next month, you're going to see blue ribbons tied to the lampposts down 31 and on 278. And those blue ribbons remind us of the bruises that are left on the children. And we hope that you really take this to heart. Get involved. Get involved with someone who wants to stop child abuse, because child abuse is really tearing our families apart.
It is. And Javon, we've been talking about physical abuse, but it doesn't stop there. It goes well beyond just physical abuse. We're into emotional, mental, so forth, correct?
Yes. Emotional abuse, where a child is told constantly that they're no good, that they're not worth anything, they're cursed, they're pushed beyond their limits, and those scars you know, the old saying, sticks and stones will never hurt me, but, I mean, words will never hurt me. Let me tell you something. A harsh word to a child is horrible because it leaves a scar that will never heal. We've learned that it takes 7 positive comments about that child to do away with 1 bad.
Wow. Did not know that. Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.
We thank you too, and you can find us at Cullman Caring for Kids at msn.com. That's our email. Our website is www.cullmancaringforkids.com.